everyone. I'm so happy to chat with Jonathan Carter from Kata Accounting Solutions and his mom, Diane. So today we're going to be talking about why parents choose to have life insurance for their children. Before we dive in, Jonathan, could you please tell us a bit about yourself and your work and what you're passionate about? And also, Diane, please share something about Jonathan that he doesn't want us to know about him. Okay, I'm just kidding. But please feel free to share with us what is your passion and what exactly are you looking forward to?
You want to go first?
There you go.
Okay. So, so Kata Accounting Solutions, I founded in 2014 as a cloud-based accounting firm. We are a small accounting firm, so service tends to be very personalized, but it's highly tech leveraged. So we don't have a brick and mortar office. We never have, and hopefully we never will. But our staff are able to work the hours that best suit their lifestyle. All the team members are moms, so it works out really well for taking care of kids and, dinner and homework and different things like that. And the dedication of the team is just amazing, and the way that they work together, despite often, having asynchronous communication, somebody working in the afternoon while another's helping their kids with homework, and then they'll catch up in the evening on Slack and things like that. Okay. And then just using all the technologies that are available to make the process very easy for clients. That's our goal. And we recognize there's always room for improvement in the user experience, but that's what we're really focused on. From a tax perspective, we also do bookkeeping on a very, very narrow niche, typically working with companies that are internet-based. Quite often, these could be digital marketers, consultants, coaches, different kinds of companies along those lines. The one thing I am really excited and really looking forward to is I'm getting married in about 3 weeks. Yay. So that's of course dominating our conversations these days. And I'm very much looking forward to that.
Well, he need to be, and I think both my sons have done incredible jobs in terms of becoming the human beings that will serve the world and their community, and have done a great job. So
thanks, Mom.
Just happy that they're my passion.
Oh, that's lovely. That is lovely. So we're going to be talking a bit about life insurance. I wanted to get your thoughts on what have you always thought about life insurance? Have you always had a passion for life insurance, or is it because something happened in your life you decided to get life insurance policy? What was the thought process behind it?
Well, I wouldn't say it was passion, but it was practicality. I'm a very practical person. And I guess the two influences at the beginning when we had a family, my husband and I, he was in insurance for about 3 years. He was selling life insurance. And he had a traumatic accident at one point, and then really believed in the product. And, he'd go all over the place meeting clients and so forth. And this is pre-internet days. So it's a long time ago, but he really believed and still believes in the product. And also my parents were, they were from, this was after the war, I guess. I was born in the early 50s. So they were just establishing themselves in Toronto. And they had a friend who wasn't in the insurance business. And he, I guess, convinced them to buy insurance for both my sister and I at a young age. We would have been probably less than 10. And they bought whole life insurance for us at that point. And, they knew that there was a lot of possibilities. It's not just the death benefit, which would pay for burial and all that kind of thing. But it's an investment in some ways as well, because you could take the cash out, or you could, it would grow, so it become an investment if you needed it later in life and so forth. So it was those two influences, I think, were the most critical in terms of being practical about insurance.
Okay, those are really good points. And how about yourself, Jonathan? What are your thoughts on life insurance?
So, before, when I was younger and I was not an accountant, it wasn't something I really paid attention to. And then you'd you start thinking about the future and you start building assets and things like that. And you want to protect that for whoever you're bequeathing it to upon your death. So really for me, life insurance is a fantastic tool in a lot of ways to do things such as resolve debt upon death or pay for capital gains tax, which is actually something that concerns me a lot when it comes to that kind of thing as well. I think it's great to buy it for a child at such a young age. I mean, the premiums are so low.
Yes.
So low. And then, you know, it can really be a benefit for life for that child. And as far as like a parent goes, I mean, when somebody's getting married, of course, we're going through all this now, me and Julia,
Yes.
and changing things over and whatnot. But I want to make sure that if I were to suddenly pass, that she's not burdened with unraveling a whole slew of things that she doesn't really know about. And at least she'll have, you know, some money to help deal with any problems. Just to kind of like full disclosure, I do have, besides the whole life,
Yes.
and there is a specific reason for this, and I know that it's not the most efficient, but I do have mortgage protection plan insurance on my properties. And I know it's not the most efficient, but I've explored the term life option, which I know can be cheaper in the long run.
Yes.
And the challenge is I've been told by a lot of different companies, I'm not insurable or it will be very expensive.
Yes.
Because I'm over 300 pounds, like barely over 300 pounds. And because I am, was made a diabetic when the American Medical Journal dropped the line. You know, there are various factors. I'm overweight, things like that, that make, I know the mortgage MPP insurance in the long run is more expensive than term insurance.
Yeah.
But it's what's available to me. Like I've explored critical illness several times and I can't get insured for critical illness.
Okay. So essentially, from what I hear, you are trying to protect as much of your assets as much as possible and not to leave anything to your family as a financial burden, which makes sense. So if your situation was different, would you say that you would have explored term life insurance? And are you also happy by the fact that Diane was able to get you a life insurance policy at such a young age where health was not an issue or anything like that?
The whole life insurance is a key part of that portfolio for sure. Because I mean, that not only like it has a cash value component that can be utilized down the road if, you know, I can get to the financial picture where everything is protected. In the meantime, it can go towards capital gains taxes upon passing, things along those lines. So
to me, I think that's really wonderful to be able to have those kind of characteristics in a policy, because a lot of the times people don't know that there are so many things you can be able to do with life insurance. It's not a matter of me passing away and then my family gets my legacy. It's more or less like, how can we be able to start managing our finances right now, and then not only right now but beyond the grave as well. So that's the beauty of what your mom gave you because of that flexibility. And do you feel like you're going to be using some of that cash value towards your wedding, or?
No, not for the wedding.
No.
Not for the wedding.
It's an emergency type thing.
Yeah, it's going to depend on a lot of factors, but I'm thinking more like down the road. I personally am heavily invested in real estate, and I need to diversify more. So that might be what I would do with that money. It might be, you know, down payment on a house or something like that down the road. But I want to make sure that that security is in place in a different manner before I use that cash value.
Okay, I see. And what else would you like to add about your experience with life insurance, about people who are thinking about life insurance or people who are afraid of talking about life insurance?
Right. Well, insurance is more than just insurance on death. Okay. So I think some of the things Jonathan talked about was really critical for me in terms of practicality. We looked at the whole life, and the policy that we were able to get for both kids was, and I'm not sure of all the details, but every 5 years, I think after a certain age, they could get an additional same amount in addition, without any medical requirements. So it was guaranteed life.
Yes.
So we were able to build that up for both boys, and they can, like Jonathan said, you can borrow against it. You could cash it in, which I hope they don't do until they need to. You know, there's it's also when you get the benefits, they're tax free. They're not taxable. We're grandfathered in terms of that. I think there was a change in 2017, but the proceeds from insurance were non-taxable, so that makes it good for whoever gets the money at that point. They don't have to worry about paying any extra tax, and it grows. And my other son, we're looking at that as maybe possibility of if he doesn't get into a relationship or something where he has somebody depending on him, then he may just use that as a retirement fund.
That does make perfect sense. So then I will say that, Diane, you are a practical, loving mom who is able to do something really amazing for Jonathan. And just from that perspective, I think as parents, we usually want to be able to protect our children and to be able to leave them with something like a legacy, so that they also can be able to take care of their own families when the time comes. And
Right.
And with the policy that you have, is it transferable? So let's say, for example, if Jonathan was to have children, then will that policy be transferred over to the children? But his life is insured, but the beneficiaries are going to be his kids?
I've never thought of that, and so I'm not
pretty sure
sure.
I can change the transfer, like the beneficiary, because
Yeah.
I believe we changed it from you to David.
Yeah,
Back
we
when
can we can transfer the beneficiary as long as you don't make it irrevocable.
Yeah.
Yes. Perfect. See, this is what I love about this, because of the fact that not only are you looking at your own generation, you're looking at beyond the next generation. So I think it's really good. I really appreciate your time today, being able to chat with me about this important topic. And it's really important to have that long-term view when you're building a financial foundation, not only for yourself, but for your legacy.
Mm-hmm.
I think just to kind of go off on a small tangent, I think working with somebody that you trust is extraordinarily important.
Yes.
In my practice, I have seen situations where someone was sold insurance and thought it was one type of thing, and they didn't really understand the product. And when they passed, it did not pay out. And that created a much bigger financial burden on the family, because they had planned according to that paying out on death.
Yes.
Unfortunately, they were sold a bag of squirrels, and it did not pay out.
Squirrels, I love that.
What are you going to do with a bag of squirrels, right? What am I going to do with this? Right?
Nothing but chase them around. But,
Yes.
but I'm glad you actually brought that up. It's what you call, that process is called underwriting. So if a policy is underwritten up front, so that means the actual insurance company will do the investigation to make sure that you actually qualify. While the other policy that you're referring to, that policy might have been underwritten at claim. So essentially what they're doing now is they're doing all their investigations when a person comes forward to claim the actual benefit. And from that perspective, that's when they will say, hey, you never actually disclosed this to us. So therefore, thanks, but no thanks. We're just going to be providing you back your premiums rather than this lump sum amount you are expecting to pay down the mortgage. So you are absolutely right in bringing that up, because it is important to work with someone who is transparent and they're willing to tell you the details about each policy that you're going to be applying for. So I really like that you brought that up.
I like to use a term, accountanese. And when I speak with clients, I have to not speak accountanese. I have to speak plain English and help people understand. And I think it's important for insurance salespeople to do the same, and to focus on what the client needs rather than on any other aspect. I don't want to divulge more about that particular situation,
Yeah.
but the one thing I will say is there have been some interesting things that I've seen happen with life insurance for business owners. And that's something that should be strongly considered, especially when it comes to resolving shareholder loans or protecting your business or your family's interest in the business. Should you
Absolutely.
certainly pass. So there's lots of good ways to use life insurance, and there's lots of different products, and it can be hard to wrap your head around them. And I think that's why working with somebody who you can trust is extraordinarily important.
Absolutely. On another segment, we can definitely discuss that, especially for business owners who are in partnerships and one of them passes away. What exactly happens to the estate of the business owner who passed away, and all of that
Right.
fun stuff.
Of curiosity, Znave, how long have you been in the insurance business?
So I've been in the financial planning business for
financial planning. Okay.
yes, for 3 years, and then prior to that, I was managing corporate lines of credit for 5 years.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
money, finance has always been my passion.
Okay. That's one of the issues with life insurance is that oftentimes the people who you're dealing with don't stay in the business. It's a hard business to really make a go of. And, we've had a few that have been longer term, but then they've found other places to go to. So it almost seems like you're getting a new agent taking care of your file, if you even get that, maybe every 2 or 3 years. So that can be a little bit of a difficulty.
It definitely can be. I will say for me, because I'm a financial planner and I look at it from a holistic perspective, like what exactly makes sense for my client. Like when we're talking about the financial planning, it's more or less how exactly are we managing your cash flow? What kind of investments are you invested into? How can life insurance protect your overall picture? When we're talking about different facets of their finances, it's not just a transaction. It's more or less how exactly are we building this legacy for you and your family.
A holistic view. Yeah, that's great.
Very important.
That's great.
I see too many clients I've seen come to me, and their financial planners are dropping the ball. Like the most common thing I see is people paying tax when they don't have to on unregistered investments when they have, $60,000, $70,000 of room in TFSA or even more in RSP sometimes. And the other thing I see is clients coming to me who've walked into a retail financial planner, and I won't name any names, but they end up, it's like, well, the market went up 50% and I gained 5. That seems wrong. Why'd this happen? And quite often these larger retail facing organizations, the financial advisor is a salesperson. They're not providing any sound advice in the interest of the client. They're selling product in the interest of their employer.
Yes. And that's why it's really important to understand your client, right? Because sometimes even, let's say, for example, if the markets have gone up, let's say 50%, but your portfolio has gone up only 5, why is that? Is it because you decided to be invested in a different type of strategy? Or was it because you had a different goal that you didn't want to expose yourself to the market fluctuations? So it is important to have that understanding. And that's why when a client is talking about returns and all of this, it's important to be able to explain to them, this is why we're investing the way we are investing, so that they themselves know the reason why. But if they had mentioned to you that, hey, I have a long-term view and I am a very high risk appetite, then I need to be exposed to these types of investments, then you need to be able to build something that is aligned to their goals rather than what is aligned to someone else's or another entity's goals. It's always with the clients first, always.
Yeah,
exactly.
And it all changes with age too.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Let me put it this way. The whole life policies are a lot more valuable today to me than they were when I was 15 or 18 or 25.
Yeah. So, because now you know the value of them, right?
Yeah. I have better understanding. I see how they can be used, and I know that, there's a degree of financial security in my future.
That's wonderful. Awesome. But I really appreciated your time today. So Jonathan and Diane, what are you going to be doing at the cottage today?
We have lots of work around the cottage to
Oh,
do.
work, Diane.
I'm actually, the next thing I'm doing is ordering the cake.
We're getting ready for this wedding, so we have to get the grounds on.
That's exciting. That's exciting.